This is a little bit different than the traditional on the mat yoga. This is a moment for off the mat. When discussing the two, on the mat is like your physical practice, like you're moving through the asanas, you're going through meditation, mantra, mudras. Off the mat is philosophy, it's what you do in daily life, it's how you take the practice and understand it, discuss it, and live. As a yoga practitioner or someone who's into meditation and yoga as a lifestyle. So, in talking about the chakras, this is going to be a review of them, and it's also going to dive into a little bit of like a very tiny piece of astro yoga. When I first started posting content, I was doing more so just astrology forecasts, and there was this separation of like, I didn't fully feel 100% like that was the correct direction to go fully with the astrology, and my yoga still felt a little bit like off. Like each side didn't seem fulfilling. It felt like there was something still like kind of missing from it. And over the last couple of years, I've been taking more time to really allow whatever it is to come up and see if astrology and or yoga, like if they connect, or how can they come together for my own practice, because they do connect in something that's called astro yoga. And whether you're looking at history of yoga, history of astrology, or history of Eastern practices, there is this connection even outside of Eastern practices so much with just things that really can't always 100% be explained in the physical, but they are something outside of self. There's something that kind of this feeling of like, I know something's there, I can't tell. Sometimes I like to say it's like when you get those eureka moments, and in that, this piece has resurfaced in my own practice, and it is looking at more of the astro yoga in the practice and bringing it together. I teach a yoga basics workshop, and that's one of the things, that's one of the first things in our mouth is a practice of yoga from a spiritual aspect, more than just the physical, because it is more than a physical practice, is connection to self and higher self and universe. It's that connection to source, that connection to, some would say, God. And so no matter what you call it, it's there, and it adds that connection or layer of self where we have higher self, where we have our physical self, our physical body that we're here in this world, our mental, our emotional, our emotions, and spiritual. And I'm one, I can't not include spiritual. It's the things that, the miracles of life, the things that have happened to me that have allowed me to get through and triumph, or just like I said, things that just can't be explained. And chakras are kind of one of those things. Chakras, you can't physically see a chakra in this 3D world, but you can see symptoms of it if something is off, something is blocked, if something's not flowing. And you can feel it. You could have those days where you feel like something's off here. Like, I don't know what it is. I can't talk right, or I feel a little like goofy. Those could be symptoms of something that's going on with the chakras. And so when we're looking at the chakras, typically we look at the main 7. There are more. There's also a soul star, an earth star. But I'm just going to run down the line here to make sense of it. And so basically, your chakras are energy centers, and they come from the Sanskrit word of wheel or disc. So you could think of these energy centers, or these centers, these little wheels or discs, maybe that are spinning, in each point of the 7 chakras. And in the main, there's your root, your Muladhara, which is here, your lower. It's in your lower chakra system. Your sacral, some people say sacral. Svadhisthana, your solar plexus, your Manipura. Your heart, your Anahata. Your throat, your Vishuddha. Your third eye, your Ajna. And your crown, your Sahara. I can't say that one right. Sahara. It's H-A-R-A. I can never say that one right. So I always just say crown chakra. And then you have your soul star, which would be like connected to even above your crown, that connects you to that universe, and your earth helps to ground you. It's below your root chakra and helps to ground you into this world that we find ourselves. They each have a color. Your roots or Muladhara has red. Your sacral has orange. Your yellow has solar plexus. Your heart's green. Your throat's blue. Your third eye's indigo. Some see it as purple. And then you have, or there's that crossover of your violet in your crown chakra, or some people see it as white. And your lower chakras are this physical realm. It keeps us here. They say they tend to be our masculine chakras. They also are those things that help us to kind of be in this physical world. It deals with our stability, our foundation, our needs. And then when you get towards the higher, it deals more with, they say, our feminine, it deals more with our emotions, our intuition, our spiritual enlightenment, our things that maybe you don't see or in that financial world, but things that also just deal more with us feeling, are we speaking right? Do we feel like our mind is in a good headspace kind of thing? And so with that, when they come together, that's what makes you this whole person that you are. And so going chakra to chakra, your roots, stability, those needs, we want to feel stable in life, right? So then we have our sacral, our creativity, that's pleasure center. That's also just above the root chakra. You have your your solar plexus. That's where we get our personal power, our confidence, our self-esteem, kind of right here where you feel it, like that gut. You feel that in your gut. Then you have your heart, your love, your compassion, and your heart chakra. Communication channel, self-expression, truth. Live your truth, speak your truth. Your third, your intuition, and your crown, your spiritual connection. And so when you're looking at chakras, basically these energy centers, there's different routes you can take from that. You can look at it as there's frequencies that can help to align and balance your chakras if you're feeling a little off, something feeling like, that's not right, if you're not feeling yourself. The chakras, as their energy, are said to vibrate at certain frequencies. They're said to have this vibration, and sound is a big thing that can help to keep them or allow them to be balanced. Mantras, there's sounds that can help, and mantras that help you to balance out your chakras. And each chakra has a sound. They each have their own frequency. One that is very common and popular in yoga that a lot of people know in the West is Om. Om not only connects you to higher consciousness, source, universe. They say that's what, the frequency of the universe. It also connects to that third eye, your third eye that connects you to your intuition. And so when you're opening up in those higher chakras and getting up also then into that higher spiritual connection, that is what can also bring in information. Some call them downloads coming down into the mind. I also call those, like, for some people, eureka moments, or when you're talking to source, to God, asking for assistance with something. That is something that connects you with it. But there's other ones. Your heart has your lam, your solar plexus has your ram, your throat has your hum. So that's what they say sometimes. If you're humming, that frequency can help to move and break things open and balance through the frequencies. So that's also another way to look at it. And also it can be silence or lower ohms with the crown chakra too. But those things can help to balance. And it's interesting too, because you can start to feel the balance happening in your body. You can start to see things differently, or become self-aware of your body and what's going on when you start to work on balancing. Or other things that can happen with the chakras is if something can feel closed, or the energy can feel stuck or stagnant, or if it's not flowing. And so you can have that feeling of you can't speak, and it can work in different ways. Physical symptoms might come up in the body. And so you want to do things like these practices of the sounds and frequency and moves that can assist in yoga to help to balance out your root your chakras, all of the chakras. But you also have this kind of, there's like two ways of play. So you can have these chakras that are imbalanced just from being alive, and then you want to work to balance them out. But you can also get imbalanced or have things going on with your chakras from decisions and choices in the life you make, which is typically what starts to occur as we get older. We start to make decisions, choices, things that we're more aware of, and then issues can come up. And it can be, it's interesting that it can be an energy that can turn into physical symptom in the body. So you want to think about, your different chakras, the sounds that can help to balance them out, to open them. You want to think about also there's colors connected to them. And they say if you wear certain colors that can promote a certain chakra that can help to balance it out. So like the throat being blue, you might want to wear more blue to support your throat chakra. Also coming back, full circling down back to astrology and yoga and looking for this connection or allowing things to kind of resurface in my life, is astro yoga is taking the practice of astrology and incorporating it into your yoga practice. Your chakras also can change and open and balance through yoga poses and asanas and movements. There's certain movements and stretches and things we do that help our chakras, and so it's good to support ourselves in our body through this physical movement that then only goes, or not only, but goes past only the physical body. It goes into our energetic, it goes into our spiritual, goes into our mental. And that's, those feel good vibes we get. That's those things, once again, that we may not be able to like fully explain. Why did I feel like this before and now I feel like this? Like it can change to hopefully move you into a better space. And with that, what I mean is, so there are poses that we do with certain parts of our bodies. That certain part of your body is connected to those chakras. And so when you move and float, if you have, tight hips, tight this, tight that, sore this, healing from that, then this can help that. This can help to heal. This can help to support that. For example, you have your root chakra that is all about the stability, masculine, our needs. We want to have our financial needs met, our housing needs met, our food, to help us feel stable and grounded into this earth. So for that, you might do a warrior pose. That's a very, strengthening, stabilizing pose. You might go into mountain pose. Mountain pose, you're grounded into the earth with your feet. Child pose, you're kind of digging and nesting into the earth. You have your solar plexus. If you're having issues where you feel like you have low self-confidence, you're lacking self-esteem, you don't feel good, you're kind of taking shots at yourself, boat pose is going to work into the solar plexus. Warrior 3, plank pose. Plank pose, strengthening, full body strengthener, core strengthener, engages abdominal muscles. And if you have something going on with your throat chakra, or even down into your heart. I like these two because they can kind of mesh together. The heart chakra connects your lower and your upper. But what's nice about it is when you do a lot of things for your throat and your heart, that's speaking your truth, speaking, when you feel called to, and not kind of lowering yourself, then it kind of can mix. So like if you do a camel pose is going to help your heart chakra and your throat chakra. If you're looking more at your throat chakra, self-expression, shoulder stands, fish pose, plow pose, that's going to dive into that throat chakra to kind of align with both of them. Bridge pose, that's another one. It's primarily for the heart, but it can also open up through your throat and actually can also dive into your solar plexus. A lot of these poses might have a primary chakra that they connect with, but there's secondary also that it can hit or touch, or third or fourth that it can touch and still support and allow to bring balance between all of these poses, all of the self. And so with that, if you're looking at those energetics, or especially the pieces and parts of the chakra system and tapping into poses that support your higher consciousness, your higher chakras, that's going to connect you to source, because source is outside of self. It's going to connect you to universe. That's outside of self. That's the stars. And then you can dive even deeper. So you can have colors and chakras and poses that are also connected to planets, that are also connected to astrology signs. So for example, myself, I'll give 2 examples that I've been working quite a bit with is I'm a Libra, sun sign Libra. So I am connected to the planet Venus, Venus of love. My sign is all about balance. So that's an ever-ending battle of me looking for balance, life balance, work-life balance, personal, all that stuff. And then Libra, a lot of time can be connected to throat chakra. So really, I have always been very much about like truth. Got to get through the truth. You have to be able at some point or another be able to speak your truth, be honest, live your truth. It's something I've gone through in life, all these lessons, and I value that so much, especially in my partnerships and relationships with people, which connects back to Venus, connects back to love. If I have a partner, if things are hiding, you know, I can feel that, I can sense it, and it's like I kind of search for it. And so there are poses that can help that in yoga, and that's an example of how it can be connected. So I'm connected to Venus, and all the things kind of help to connect him to myself, connect me to ground and find stabilization, and also connect me to source. Another one is Aries. So Aries is that fire sign. It can be very kind of like head for it. It's very like get it done, be physical, take action. So for an Aries in a yoga practice, they might fall towards a very good, deep, strengthening yoga, power yoga. They might love the warriors. They might love kind of getting into more disciplined practices. Maybe we're a Libra, where we kind of float and find ourselves in a flow yoga, yin, emotional yoga. Aries might find something more like an Ashtanga yoga, that discipline, the moving into advanced poses, seeing these sequences. But what can be beneficial is if they get into that too much, they might go deeper into their lower chakras, and then they ignore some of their higher chakras to connect to their feminine. And so what can be beneficial for them is to slow down, is to make time to meditate. Just as for Libra, it can be beneficial to do a power yoga, to do some strengthening poses, to incorporate warrior, because it then will benefit me the opposite way. If I'm too much in my higher chakras and I'm ignoring my lowers, that's going to help me to tap back into the lower chakras and balance out the body. So this is how yoga and astrology can start to connect. I recently did a workshop on the two, and we're going to keep diving in on this. I'm going to build some flows around it, or maybe even just kind of shoot through some poses, because you don't always have to do, like a repetitive hour and a half or a 30-minute flow or whatever. Like you could literally, if you have just a few minutes a day, just take that time to move through some poses that will help you feel good physically, mentally, and so spiritually also, and emotionally. And it can just support that practice and help you to start to connect the asanas that go with what and how it can support you. So if you're looking at just yoga and your chakras and you have a little bit of time, if you're feeling lightheaded or not really lightheaded, but if you're feeling kind of floaty, like ungrounded, maybe you want to do an uttanasana forward fold. That's going to allow your head to go below your tail. You're still going to be grounded into the earth through your feet, but your head connecting is going to help to ground you and take you from a higher place. If you feel like you're getting lost in your daydreams a lot, that's going to help to kind of calm and bring you back down to center. If you're having issues with maybe confidence or self-esteem, hop into a boat pose or a plank. Boat pose, you're on your tail. There's different ways to do it. Plank pose, you plank. Or if you're having some hardship and things are diving into your emotions, you can you don't have to go fully into shoulder stance, head stance, those kind of more balances, especially if you don't have a wall to support you. But you can still tap into ones that are going to help and open up your throat chakra. You tap into your bridge, your camel, or standing back bend, which is pretty much like fish pose. Even though you're lying down, you're just allowing your heart to open. So those are ways to dive into the yoga chakra. And then if you want to add a little bit more to it and dive into the astro yoga, there's so many ways to add that into your practice. Even, with me just mentioning how it can get into your astrology sign, your sun sign, and then also the planets. You could also do it by current phases, what's going on. Like we just got into Aquarius season. And so you could go and look up, well, what is an Aquarius? What is their sign about? And then looking at what their sign is about, it'll give you a better idea on maybe some things that go on with Aquarius by default, because they're Aquarius, the kind of generics of it. And see, like, okay, do they fall more in the masculine? Do they have, like we see like with Taurus, like Aries can be a little headstrong, can be very motivated and get things done, take action. So can Taurus. So you can do some similar things for both to get them to connect to their higher chakras and to get them to maybe calm and center and soften. And so you can do the same thing for Aquarius or Libra or other signs, just depending on the season we're in, because even if you are not a certain sign, whatever is going on or what that sign is about can affect one of your houses. And what I mean by houses is everyone has houses. We have, our financial house, our relationship house, our communication house, our work house. It's what they just are called in astrology. And so when you get into those houses, you can have, your sun sign be Libra, but then you have an Aries in such and such house, and your relationships or communication, or you have, such and such planet in a house, and it's also then connected to this other sign, or you might have Aquarius in a certain house. So you may not be an Aquarius, but you might wear an Aquarius season, and you might have Aquarius in one of your other sectors, in one of your other houses, and it affect that part of your life. And so you want to look at how to balance that. And so I'm gonna do more with this. It's a quite interesting subject. There's so many ways you can go about it, which is why I love not only the practice of yoga, but this other side, this off the mat yoga, the study, the philosophy, the connection to the other things that it has from the ancient texts into now, which is, the astrology, the science, the Ayurveda, and just different parts of it, the mantras and mudras, because all of it comes together. It's all about, getting well for yourself, finding your wellness, your well-being, and then you can start to look outside of you and start to become aware of, your relationships, the wellness of those around you, their well-being. And you don't have to go like attack them like, oh, you're something chakras off, but like just being aware of it and then using that to help you navigate through life, and how you would like to be in this life, which is with a lot of it, like if you get into certain parts, like yamas and niyamas in yoga, it's, how you treat yourself and how you treat others, because we want to be in a good place. We want to be in a healthy place to then help someone else. Otherwise, it's really hard to help someone else if you're not feeling good. And I don't mean like, oh, you have a breakup with a partner and, you don't want to go out, like, because sometimes people say like, oh, if you go out and do something for someone else, you'll feel better. I don't mean that. I mean almost from a different kind of just human stance of, if you're feeling like your mental health is off or your physical health is off, or you're feeling stuck and unbalanced, it can be really difficult to then go out and help someone else if you're feeling anxious or upset or stuck or depressed. And so yoga and all these different pieces and parts of it, and astrology can support and help you kind of like start to analyze and become aware of self and really see what's going on, especially if you feel like sometimes that it's not even your own feelings that you're feeling that heavy down, or your own energy, because we are energetic beings. There is this understanding of everything has vibration, going back to chakras being energy, vibrating different frequencies. And so it really can be that you pick up on others, you absorb what you're around, and that can even be also seen in the astrology side. If you have your chart, your astrocartography chart, or your birth chart, when we're in different places and spaces, certain things start to highlight, certain things start to come out, and that can also be a part of it. Like I definitely feel certain ways when I'm in a certain place versus then I can get kind of into a negative, or then I want to go through escapism and run away without dealing with it or understanding or analyzing it or becoming aware of it and finding the root for why. And then, or I can do the positive where I understand that, and I can kind of wallow in this space and use it to my benefit, and then take those lessons or whatnot in life and heal and go my own journey, and then take it to that other space and place where now I can even be at a higher vibration, because now I'm not just trying to escape there. I just know reasons why I'm drawn to that place. Just like why I feel, certain ways here. When you're drawn to a certain place, it might be because you feel a certain way there. You're connecting energetically to something there, and others around you also. So it really does play out. People say all the time, you are what you're around, you are your environment. That's a very simplistic way of putting it, because we do, in so many levels, absorb what we're around. Or some people just feel pure pressure to be, typically what we're around. But that can be from such an unconscious, unaware side of things. When you start to become aware of yourself and analyze and learn about yourself, you can be around those places, and maybe then you don't absorb as much, because like, this is how I feel, and that's how they are, and that's how they feel. Nothing's bad or good. It's just, it is what it is. But now you have that knowledge to understand that and kind of guide yourself in the direction that you want to guide yourself into, and not be affected so much by the others or the environment. So I hope you enjoyed this tap into chakras and yoga and their connection to astro, little teeny bit of astro yoga. There's just so much information that's so beautiful that I'm looking forward to sharing. Also, just because it's just a time of change, and so this is a way to stay connected, to still dive deeper in yoga and look a little bit more, because a lot of these things that I'll be talking about, they're mentioned in a lot of yoga classes and sound healings and different things. And some people, they just, either they or you might not fully comprehend or understand or even know what the heck is they're talking about. You just might be like, yeah, so all these people do yoga, I'm already flexible, I want to do that, or I want to gain flexibility, or I want a good workout, it's great cardio. This is adding that piece together, because for someone like me and so many others where this is like our daily life, there's so much more to the physical asanas and physical practice on the mat. So stay tuned. Thanks for joining me. And yeah, let me know if you have questions about something. Drop it in the comment section. You can also reach out to me, carminasmiles.com. All right, see you later.